I got the Coach Dub and the Coach Jerry. We're taking a look at the Become the Bank equations that were associated with this real-time deal. So, Jerry, my brother, talk to me about this deal, because you were on the ground with Carrie initially when she, got, I think it was the information release and limited power of attorney first, and then we came in for there.
Man, I tell you, Carrie has, just as a student, man, she's just been so diligent in making sure that now, she's making these moves out in, in commerce, because she is commerce and we are the marketplace, that she's taking her time. She's really paying attention to the details, because what I find most of the time, Gene, is when you start something new, it's a lot easier for you to just want to fall back on things that you thought that worked for you before you got this information. She's almost turned it into like a consummate pro.
I like it.
There was a time where I almost had to tussle a little bit with Carrie, but she has taken the step back to really soak in and devour this information, and to make sure she's not missing any steps in her analysis, right, of the property, in her analysis, right, of the person who can convey, and then making sure that she's dotting all the T's or T's and crossing
all the I's
as we move forward.
All the I's. So we got the I's and
we got the I's crossing the T's.
Yeah, it's all
because
good.
Because there was a time that she was not, and seeing that growth in her, man, it is phenomenal. It is absolutely phenomenal.
Her and Shafta actually targeted this deal, like specifically. This is what I actually told Amani this in the Q&A, about his list, to look at it just with his eyes and the knowledge of his market, just the areas. Oh, good area, zero in on that and narrow it down. That's what they did. But initially, Carrie looked at it with the traditional eye, mindset and eyes, and was like, well, this isn't a deal. There isn't any equity in this and that, not much equity. But when you become a real estate wizard, well, so Dub, now talk to me a little bit about that part right there, because Dub is just coming into our coaching aspect of it, right, and into our inner circle and learning the creative financing strategies. He knew something about it, right, but he also has that traditional background. Or I mean, being a mortgage broker, a lot about the traditional. So talk to me about that transition, man.
Man, it's fun and it's eye-opening, because you get stuck in that, you get pigeonholed, right? You get told, hey, this is the only way we can do deals. And then you see people coming in with all these different creative options and lucrative ways of making things work. And sometimes you got to be careful, because some people will tell you some information and they'll put you in a situation where you owe a whole lot of people a whole lot of money, or your good name is gonna be tarnished forever. So I'm happy that you put this together the way you did, Gene, because there's so many different options that we can choose with the creative financing and the tools that, hey, you're not gonna go wrong if you follow the steps in the process. And so
yes,
it makes it lucrative, and then it opens you up and you go, man, I could just look around and I could just pick, that's the one I want.
That's it right there. Just real quick, because there's students who have been students for a while and haven't done a deal, and then there's students who have been students for not that long, and they doing deal after deal after deal. So talk to me, man, about the transitional shift, right? Because you're kind of making one right now yourself, so you're right on the battlefield with that.
Yeah,
in the trenches.
Yeah. So just making the shift. I mean, okay, so there's a couple things. One, you see some people will take a little bit longer than others. You got to remember, you got to stay in your lane, because you are meant to get to the destination at the pace you're supposed to get there. You can't look at somebody who's in the Ferrari just because you're in the sedan with the kids and packed in the back and everything else. You gonna get there. Just continue the process. That's the first thing. And then secondly, the transition is going to be painful, but it's meant to be painful, because you can't gain a muscle without going through a little bit of pain. Okay. Stress on the body is what creates muscles. So you got to be able to go through the fire a little bit to get what it is that you want, because right on the other side, once you get on that other side, man, it's greatness. It's a process. You got to learn, you got to expand. And when you are ready to expand, you're ready to grow, that process that you thought you hated so bad, later on, little pieces creep back in your mind. You're like, that's why I needed that. Oh, I need this piece over here. Oh, I remember reading about that. And then you get into them transactions and you're like, oh, it's a wrap, because now I know what I need to know, and now it's gonna happen.
Love it, man. And so that's the whole thing. There's a lot you just said right there too, because we got to stay in our own lane. You know, we should anyway. I mean, you know, those that don't, a lot of times they get bumped back into that thing, you know, one way or another, but also at our pace. Okay. At our pace. And that doesn't mean, you know, doing what you used to do and not ever finishing anything. If that's, you know, what has happened, transpired with a person. I know that was me, right, for the longest time, but at just, you know, that you're making it's focused activity with intention behind it. And then the continued learning is what builds confidence in our competence. You know, so if you're doing that, you're going at your own pace, man, you're gonna win. Absolutely. All right. So these are the Become the Bank equations. I wanted to run through these real quick because there were some questions during the VIP, and I wanted to make sure, because this is the money, y'all. We got to have the money. And this one right here is what tripped Carrie up, right, initially with her traditional eyes. Equity. And this is what the equity is, guys. After repair value, and then you subtract the existing loan balance on that property. The after repair value is when it is fixed up to new level status, right? Everything's new pretty much. That equals your equity. And then in that traditional sense, you know, with equity, you've got to either sell that asset to get that spread, right? So now you don't own that house anymore. Or again, like Coach Dub was just saying, the refi. So you're starting your mortgage over, right? There's HELOCs too, a home equity line of credit, which is a bit better and what we recommend, unless you're on that high level. Now, talking about notes, right? And the secondary market with notes. And so you can sell the promissory note. If you own that promissory note, you can sell it. You can get some cash flow on it for a while and not sell it, just sell it for a time being. That's how you can access your equity. Sell it for a time being, get a chunk of money, let them get the cash flow, boom, 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 until that money is paid back, that chunk that you got, and then the bit of interest that you promised them, and then you get those rights back on that note, and you own 100% of it again. It's like magic, dude. You didn't sell the asset and you got some money off of it. So cash flow. Now, Jerry, you've seen some deals that are beautiful cash flow deals. And guys, the cash flow is what is the average market rent, okay? And remember, the rule of thumb when you're out there and you're just moving and shaking, the rule of thumb is you should be able to get 1% of the market value of the property for your monthly rent. So if it's a market value of $100,000, you will get $1,000 rent each month. Now, let's say that you get that $1,000 rent each month on that house, but you're taking over a mortgage that is $700 a month. That would mean that you would have $300 cash flow each month. So your average market rent minus the mortgage payment. Okay. So comps are, guys, you got to run the comps because we want to get what this helps us get the number on our property. So it's the average price of houses sold within a 6 to 12 block radius within the past 3 to 6 months. And then if you have to go out 12 months, you know, you can, right? But you want to have at least 3 to 4 houses that are comparable to yours. And it's going to be like same bedrooms, bathrooms, does it have a garage, you know, all of the features, you want to make them similar. Now, comps can be manipulated too. So if you're selling your house, you want to get comps that sold for higher. If you're buying a house, you want to be getting comps that are lower. Let me get to this next one now. Boom. After repair value, the fair market value of the property after the repairs have been completed that bring the property up to a condition as if it were in a new condition. This varies based on your market too, because you're looking at repair costs. There's no science to this, but don't get played on the after repair value. All right, don't get played on it, and be able to back up your numbers. You want to have evidence. So guys, this is a wholesale or cash offer. So the wholesale or cash offer is going to be the ARV after repair value. So at the max, as if it were new property, you get to do 70% of that minus the repair cost. That gives you the cash offer. Now there are some wholesalers now doing 65% of ARV minus the repair cost. So if you're a wholesaler, a lot of times you're talking to people and it's very tough on you because that offer comes across as disrespectful. So asking monthly rent payment, I already told you guys that 1% of the fair market value. Okay, I'm gonna try to get through these here. Option fee, that's our down payment, guys. So 7.5% minimum of fair market value of your property. Now, I do want to say this real quick. So Coach Dub, you were talking to the gentleman that owns 7 houses, right? And he has fought, clawed, scratched to get those 7 houses, and then was considering selling one of them just so he could, I guess, get back in that hamster wheel and try to make it go faster. And see, when we do real estate the traditional way, for me, we're just a glorified employee of the bank. Glorified employee of the bank, because we're personally guaranteeing that debt. Our debt to income ratio has to meet certain parameters. So we're walking that line out here in the world, living our life, worrying about our damn debt to income ratio, so we'll be able to get another property. I wish I would. So I said that to say, the gentleman that owns 7 properties, if he sells them while holding them and holds them while he's selling them, like we do, he gets a 7.5% minimum down payment option fee on each of those properties.